All right guys, we're about to start our week 2 warm-up. Again, we're gonna do the same warm-up every day of this week before our workouts. We're still gonna start with our leg swings just like we did last week. Again, 10 on each side here, keeping one leg bent and the other leg completely straight, flexing our quad. We're gonna do 10 times on one side, 10 times on the other side, keeping our back flat on the ground as we do this as well. Then after our 10, we'll move into our bridges with our knees bent, feet about hip distance apart. We're gonna squeeze our butt first and then pushing our feet into the ground, lifting our hips up into the air. We're being careful not to use our lower back to lift up, but we're trying to really push our feet into the ground and squeeze our butt. After that, we'll walk our feet out a little bit further, toes up off the ground, and again, bridging up. This one you should feel a little bit more in your hamstrings. We'll do 10 of these as well. These are the same moves from last week, so you should be a professional at doing these ones, and then we'll get into our new moves of the week. So we're gonna flip over to our stomach and we're gonna do our prone scorpions. Last week we did our scorpions, but we were on our back. This time we'll do the same movement where we bring one foot towards the opposite hand. You can bend that knee as you do it, but we're gonna be on our stomach. So with this, we're trying to get close to the hand. It's okay if you don't. And if we can, get a few reps in where we try and keep both shoulders on the ground. So don't let one shoulder lift up too much, but we'll do 5 on each. From there, we'll do our alternating swimmers. So we're gonna put one hand on our lower back, and then we're gonna switch and put it around our kind of mid-back. If you don't feel comfortable doing this one on the ground, this is kind of tough for our shoulders. You can do this standing up if you wish. So we're gonna do 5 on each, nice and slow, and try and keep our hands up as high as we can as we transition from one area to the next. Then we have our push-ups. We're gonna do 5 push-ups. These can be regular push-ups or from the knees or elevated, whichever variation is good for you. After our 5 push-ups, we're gonna stay in that push-up position and do our 5 step-ups. So from here, we're push-up position, bringing one foot on the outside of the hand, holding there for a second, and then we're gonna switch sides. We can do this with the back leg straight or with the back leg bent where the knee's on the ground. Both variations are good. Just trying to feel a little bit of a stretch on our groin. After 5 of each of those, then we'll move to our grasshopper. So starting same position where you're gonna bring your knee towards your opposite wrist. Holding for a second and then switching to the other side. This is kind of like another name for it would be a dynamic pigeon. We're trying to get our posterior hip capsule or piriformis, waking it up before we start moving. After 5 on each side, we're gonna go to our opposite toe touches. What that looks like is you're gonna again start push-up position, you're gonna push back and then try and touch your opposite foot with your hand. With this, we're trying to really drive our hand into the ground and reach, hold that position for a second at the end and then come on back. Again, 5 times on each side, get a little bit of shoulder stability, some thoracic rotation. After 5 on each side, we will stand up. We'll get into 15 jumping jacks. Pretty self-explanatory here. If you don't feel comfortable jumping, you can step out one leg at a time as your arms come up. After 15 of those, we'll do our high kicks in place. So touching, or getting close to touching our foot and our hand, just like that. Good. Keeping our legs straight and keeping our back flat too. We don't want to be too rounded through our back as we do this, but keeping our core nice and tight. From there, we're going to go a knee hug into a lunge. So we did our knee hug last week. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go directly into a forward lunge. Like that, pushing back up, grabbing the other leg, pushing back up. Just like that. 5 on each side. Very nice, making sure the knee doesn't go too far over your ankle or your toes, and then really driving off of that front foot to come back to your starting position. After that one, we're gonna do our leg cradle into a lateral lunge. So we're gonna pull our leg up just as we did with our knee hug, but it's gonna be at an angle. And then we're gonna go directly into a lateral lunge. This is a move we did last week where we step to the side and shift our hips back as we lower ourselves. Good. Notice as Mitch pulls up his leg, he's not trying to rotate and twist the leg, but he's holding the same angle and bringing the whole leg up. And we'll do 5 on each of these as well before we move to our very last move of this warm-up, which is going to be our inchworms. So with the inchworms, let's interlace the fingers and reach up overhead, and then we're going to reach to the side, each side, and then walk our hands out to a push-up position, trying to keep our legs kind of straight, walk ourselves back up, interlace the fingers, reach up again. That would be 1. Let's do 5 of those. Walk the hands out, keeping the core tight as we do that. Reaching back up, side to side, just like this. 5 times with these, and then you are finished with the warm-up. Your blood should be flowing, maybe a little bit of sweat going on. That means we're ready to do the workout.